that'll be the day.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
And today's program being brought to you by Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. Kia of Cheyenne, 775-0123. And again, check out the all-new Kia Seltos. What a good-looking SUV on the lot today. Take it for a test drive, or you can do it virtually. Yeah, go to KiaofCheyenne.com and let them do all of the prompting for you. Again, the buying, selling, they'll take care of that, or buying and leasing. They'll put together money down, payments, all that other good stuff. Matter of fact, they'll even deliver to you. If you're at Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way, remember they're sanitizing the facility every hour. They got a hand sanitizer there. And if you want to do business, the mass face-to-face, you can do that over at Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Platte Valley Bank, banking times 2 on Van Dyne, the original location, and at the corner of College and Pershing, 778-0021 for all of the banking services going on now at Platte Valley Bank. And if you're looking at that refi, boy, rates have never been lower than right now. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Delrange, right across from Powers Field, and Menards over at Chick-fil-A. Ray and Cindy invite you to come on by. Use their mobile curbside. Yeah, it'll be waiting for you when you get there. They got 2 convenient drive-thrus. They're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. The real chicken sandwich tastes only at Chick-fil-A. And, oh, by the way, they do cater, so go to CheyenneChicken.com. Ice cream is back. It's now in cups instead of a cone. But, again, Chick-fil-A doing everything to make your visit as healthy as possible. Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Delrange. Medicap Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical needs. Again, you can shop inside with your doctor's prescription or use the convenient drive-thru if you feel it incumbent to use the drive-thru. Medicap Pharmacy on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. Mondello's Pizzeria, delicious Paisan cuisine. Again, Joe Mondello bringing his recipes from the East Coast, 40-plus years ago as he begins his 5th decade in business. 778-6068 for takeout only. And again, delicious pies, including that stuffed pizza that we had the other night. Excellent. And you get that extra large, by the way, so you got some leftovers. Delicious calzones, stromboli, the pepperoni rolls. Also, they have hot and cold Italian subs along with their delicious steak subs. It's all waiting for you by making one phone call or going to the takeout window at Mondello's Pizzeria, 778-6068, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Oh, by the way, they open Monday through Saturday beginning at 11. They're open at 12 noon on Sundays. First Tier Bank right across the street at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, 632-3500. Give them a call. Again, interest rates are, they're at all-time lows, but the good news is if you get a CD over at First Tier Bank, they're going to make it worth your while. Trust me, got some great maturity rates going on right now over at First Tier Bank, 632-3500. Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, part of Lennox Enterprises for over a quarter century now. They have been taking care of our vehicle needs. And again, with the weather being as awful as it has been, especially throwing down a lot of hail, you've sustained some damage, or you've just been in that good old-fashioned fender bender. Let Lennox Auto Body take care of it. Along with their paint shop, they'll get it back to you almost showroom new. And again, over at Lennox Auto Body, they do everything in-house. They don't have to ship it off. They get everything done right here. Same with the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. Again, you want it cleaned, top to bottom, bumper to bumper. Hey, that's what they do. They get it back to you almost showroom new. Lennox Auto Body, 1020 Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue, your home for Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, and Frigidaire on the main floor. Also on the main floor, you'll find a great selections of televisions. And also on the main floor, you will find the service department. B&B Appliance and TV, where they service what they sell for 50-plus years, close to like 54 years now. Bruce and the crew invite you to come on in or give them a call if you need, the service department, 638-6468. B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue. And it's scoreboard time, and we got a scoreboard to read. It's being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne over on the South Greeley Highway, downtown on KRAE Avenue. Again, you can use the Taco John's app for delivery. Again, the drive-thrus are all open, as I mentioned, South Greeley Highway, KRAE Avenue, Yellowstone Road, Delrange and Ridge, and Pershing and Ridge. Our scoreboard brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne.
I don't know where the hell you've been. We've had a scoreboard to read since May with softball and baseball here happening in the state of Wyoming.
Not a complete scoreboard.
I'm just saying we've had a scoreboard. We've had games in action, and we will have more, at least on the local side with Cheyenne Post 6 on the road. At least there will be in the at least state of Nebraska and Scotts Bluff coming up today. 4:30 is the start time for game number 1 as Post 6 will take on North Platte. Game number 2, also 2 in Scotts Bluff. They will be playing at 7 o'clock against the West Coast Zephyrs. So that's what Post 6's schedule looks like. Also, do want to remind folks for the Cheyenne Extreme, their final weekend of action will be down in Fort Lupton, Colorado, coming up Saturday as they'll have 3 games. 10:30 a.m. is started number 1. Fever Fast Pitch is the first opponent for the Cheyenne Extreme. At noon, it will be the NC Sting, and then last but not least on Saturday at 3 o'clock, the NC Sting as well, too, at least a different version of that Sting team. So, again, 3 games for the Cheyenne Extreme tomorrow, again, as they get into pool play before the tournament action on Sunday. And it's their final tournament for this weekend. Also, too, it's been at least 5 months at least in the making, but we do have NHL in action. It is those qualifying games, those games to get into a playoff spot. It is game 1 for a lot of these, at least, contests. How about the New York Rangers? They are at least already under action. They were taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, about to get underway, or at least should be underway. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Again, these games are at those neutral sites in Edmonton and in Toronto. Edmonton hosting the West Side East Conference, or at least Eastern Conference in Toronto. Let's see, 4 o'clock, Florida Panthers taking on the New York Islanders. Pittsburgh Penguins, they will see the Montreal Canadiens. And last but not least, the Winnipeg Jets will see the Calgary Flames.
NBA scoreboard. Yes, the National Basketball Association is back in business. 2 sites over at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Kissimmee. Games that are going on right now in the second period. Trailblazers leading the Grizzlies 56-48 in the second period. Is now halftime, and the Phoenix Suns are demolishing the Wizards 67-52. Final in from earlier today, the Magic defeat the Nets 128-118. Games on tap later on. The Bucks will host the Celtics. The late games will have the Kings and the Spurs, and the Rockets and the Mavericks. Major League Baseball, nothing happening right now. Everything, expected to be under the lights. It will be the Red Sox and the Yankees in the Bronx, the Mets and the Braves at Trust Park in Cumberland, Georgia. Reds and the Tigers at Comerica, Rays and the Orioles, that will be at Oriole Park. The White Sox will be hosted by the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. Padres and the Rockies will get underway at Coors Field about 6:10 our time. It will be the Indians taking on the Twins at Target Field. Pirates, Cubs at Wrigley. The Rangers will be hosted by San Francisco. Astros and the Angels on tap for tonight in SoCal at Angel Stadium. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, that will be at Chase Field. And the Swingin' A's will be in Seattle T-Mobile Park to take on the M's. Wiped out due to a little breakout of the bug.
2 players, at least the most recent team, being hit by this outside of Miami with their outbreak. Came out about a few hours ago. St. Louis Cardinals found 2 players positive late last night, so that series between them and the Brewers have been canceled, or at least they're looking for
makeup date August
2nd. So at least there's positive news regarding that. They're not going to have to sit out a week like the Miami Marlins, which still are sitting out.
And they're still wiped out. They were supposed to take on the Nationals. That has been postponed. And the Phillies still under that quarantine. They were to take on the Blue Jays in Washington, and that also has been wiped out. No makeup date yet forecast. All right, so that is our scoreboard. It's brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Taco John's presents the most satisfying burrito ever. Challenge. We challenge you to find a burrito as big on flavor as the new Boss Burrito or Bowl, with over a pound of grilled chicken and cilantro lime rice. And we also
See John and his great staff today to make sure all of your vehicle needs are taken care of so they don't flare up into major problems. Remember, Shine Auto Repair and Service is the TechNet Professional, where their work is covered by a nationwide limited repair warranty that extends across North America for 24 months or 24,000 miles, whichever comes first. For more information, check out TechNetProfessional.com on the World Wide Web. So if something happens to misfire, there's a TechNet Professional nearby. Visit Shine Auto Repair and Service today, taking care of our vehicle needs for nearly 30 years. Open Monday through Friday at 604 West Lincoln Way, or call for an appointment at 632-0498. The action is fast, unexpected, and can come with awesome results at Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza and inside at the Outlaw Saloon. Check out all the action today from the nation's racetracks with pari-mutuel wagering as it unfolds, or with our many different games on our machines. Remember, we are sanitizing our machines all the time for your safety according to state health guidelines. Make sure you get your Wyoming Downs Players Card, which makes you eligible for special events, promotions, and giveaways. The fun and excitement is happening every day at Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza and on the South Greeley Highway. For more information, go to WIDowns.com.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be mostly sunny with highs around 83. Then for tonight, it'll be mostly clear with lows around 53. On Saturday, it'll be sunny with highs around 82. And on Saturday night, it'll be partly cloudy with lows around 52.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
Sports Talk today. You'll have us here for the first half of this hour, as our guest had been backed up at a press conference. So we'll have Pat join us here in a little bit.
Who's live at Coors Field. Again, first home contest for the Rockies, as they are up top right now in Major League Baseball as one of the two best teams, right there with the New York Yankees at 4-1 overall. So we'll see how long that lasts. But again, it is first home contest, even though it's going to be empty down there in Denver, Colorado, like every other venue. So, but yes, the Colorado Rockies back in action. So it's kind of that magical time here where baseball's in their regular season underway. Some teams are participating. Again, you have 6 teams right now sitting out right now looking in due to the COVID-19 outbreak, at least throughout those clubhouses. NHL, again, as I mentioned, qualifying games. It's technically playoffs. Again, these are teams trying to make it to the playoffs to face off against those 4 teams that are playing that round robin, those top-seeded teams out of the West and Eastern conferences. So NHL, they're back in action. These games matter. Again, it's a best-of-5 series of these qualifying rounds. And then also, too, NBA's in their abbreviated finishing up regular season to determine seedings for their playoffs.
But not all teams are there.
No, again, the teams that were mathematically out, like the Warriors and
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland, a lot of these teams from the East and West, or at least a select few, basically are sitting idly by while the rest of the teams are fighting for playoff seeding, playoff spotting right now. Again, it's still technically regular season. Again, the difference is NHL said, as of March blank, whenever their season ended, that was the end of the regular season. This is now postseason play-ish. Again, teams, for instance, again, with the Chicago Blackhawks, it's a team that mathematically, or at least if COVID-19 did not exist, they would have made it to the playoffs. But again, they get a shot.
They get a second chance, yeah.
But they are not guaranteed. So, again, that's what we're going through right now is those best-of-5 series right now on both the East and Western Conference. So we'll at least get more about that when we have our...
I do want to apologize, too, when we went to the break saying Pepsi Shine. Just old habits are hard to kick. And, again, Taco John's, which serves Pepsi products, by the way, is our scoreboard sponsor. So let's get into Major League Baseball. You made a good point talking about with the Brewers and the Cardinals, 2 more positive tests. Well, and Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred has told MLB Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark today that if the sport doesn't do a better job of managing the coronavirus, it could shut down for the season. The league and players recognize the coming days are a critical juncture following an outbreak on the Miami Marlins in which 18 players and 2 coaches tested positive for COVID-19. 2 positive tests by St. Louis Cardinals players today exacerbated concerns inside the sport about the presence of the coronavirus and whether players are following MLB's protocols and are being followed properly to prevent outbreaks similar to Miami's. Now, again, these are not saying these guys are sick.
This is not, well, again, it is that they tested positive. Yes, it's not saying that they are definitely ill or asymptomatic. They've kind of left that, at least to the privacy of those players, which, again, is rightfully what MLB should do. But, again, it didn't take rocket science to basically say what was said right there of, and I told you this once we were heading into this regular season, all it takes is one outbreak, and your season is pretty much done. Again, MLB, I'll say it even for NHL, even though we're seeing that the bubble is sort of working for NHL, again, as they're locked up there in Edmonton, as they're locked up in Toronto, NBA in Orlando, even though you've had a few rogue players get outside of those bubbles, which, again, kind of could be that chance to allow or at least have a potential outbreak in those bubbles. But, again, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize of, hey, when you have an outbreak, that season could be easily in jeopardy. That's why I've been saying, hey fans and folks out there that are excited about sports, hey, yeah, it's happening right now, but will it be still happening August?
No, you might want to enjoy it here this weekend because it might be gone Monday.
Will we even crown a champion at NBA or NHL or MLB? Without a doubt. Again, there is no guarantee right now. All it's taking is one outbreak. You're seeing it right now as it's starting to spread in the MLB. That did not bubble. And I think also, too, this is faulting on MLB. And it's not just Manfred. This was also, too, something that was agreed upon by the players.
And the Players Association.
They didn't want to go into bubble-like or at least play in those neutral locations as originally was outlined months ago of, hey, we're going to go in Florida or we're going to play all
in Arizona.
In Arizona, without a doubt. So everyone's kind of paying the price right now in MLB.
It says right here, should another outbreak materialize, Manfred, who has the power to shut the season down, could move in that direction. Multiple players briefed on the call fear that season could be shut down as soon as Monday if positive tests jump or if players continue not to strictly abide by the league's protocol. So, again, they've been told what to do, and baseball, like you said, Nick, has more freedom.
Yeah. They're able to travel. They are not highly restrictive of where they can and can't do compared to NHL to NBA of what they're doing in those bubble areas. So, again, MLB, and again, it's not just ownership. It's not Commissioner Manfred. It's the Players Association, the players, and also, too, everyone came and agreed on this plan where now you're paying the consequences.
And if the season's shut down, there's going to be no payday involved.
Yeah.
So they better pull their heads out of their rear if they want to play some.
It's kind of like something we talked with Chad at least 2 days ago regarding at least high school athletics here in this part of the world where, hey, take it serious if you want to play a season. And again, high schoolers, hey, they're not playing for money. They're just playing for pride and a possible state championship. No, again, yeah, you have MLB players playing for a hefty paycheck that is at jeopardy, and along with also, too, winning a World Series or all that fun stuff that comes with the regular season of Major League Baseball. But, again, so far, it's being managed not particularly well in Major League Baseball, but if it does get drastic, yeah, without a doubt, I think MLB basically halts it and says, yeah, we're done. And the worst case scenario of these outbreaks, if something were, again, as it is a virus that can lead to that kind of deadly option, again, as it is a small percentage, but it is a possibility. If that were to happen, you got to imagine all sports are pretty much grinded to a halt, and we're back at square one. Yeah. If that were to happen,
and and the trickle down will be from the pros
all the way down
to the way down to the youth. You mentioned this before we went on the air, and that also kind of scraps one of the games that the Cowboys had this year, and that would be the Utah Utes. I should say,
it came out today that the Pac-12, where we knew that they were going to basically play conference games, as Big Ten has mentioned that, ACC has mentioned that of playing kind of regional or at least conference games.
By the way, they added Notre Dame to their
which was surprising
to their conference for the year.
ACC added Notre Dame, so right now you have I think Navy, Army, those independents, BYU also too kind of floating in limbo right now to look up. BYU obviously would be smart to be in the Mountain West, but again, obviously there's a little tough feelings within that, so we'll see what happens there. But right now, you're seeing Pac-12 at least came up with a schedule today saying, hey, here's how Colorado's going to play. It's only Pac-12 schools, and that's what you get.
10 games, 5 home, 5 away. That's the way it's going to be positioned for the Pac-12.
So Pac-12 was kind of one of the early ones to lead out of the gates of putting out a schedule saying, hey, this is how it's going to go. Other conferences have said, hey, we're either going to delay the start of ours, and we haven't come out with a schedule, but we're going conference only. Out in this part of the world, what kind of matters most, especially to Cowboy fans, is the Mountain West has been deadly silent. Has been, or at least for a lack of a better term, probably shouldn't use that, but again, they have been completely silent on what is going to be the future for fall football for the entire Mountain West.
Well, and
where,
again, too,
where again, it is a wait and see where you look down, at least in the lower levels, to the Big Sky Conference. That also too populates a few schools out in this region, up in Montana with Idaho State, Northern Colorado down in Greeley. They came out and said as a conference that they're going to wait and see till next week of what the NCAA comes out and says, what their at least rules and regulations are going to be regarding fall sports. So I would not be surprised that the Mountain West is also too waiting idly by. And the Mountain West also too,
as a couple teams that are, the state schools out of California, San Jose, Fresno.
You have California that again is on the verge, or
San
at least
Diego State,
it's re-closing back down. You have the issue in Albuquerque with New Mexico.
That's 4 teams right there out of the 12 teams.
Las Vegas, that's been kind of hit by this, but I think they would be able to manage, especially in that brand new Allegiant Stadium out there, home of the Raiders.
Then you have the problem with Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii as well too. The travel for them.
But the nice thing about Hawaii, they don't have the outbreak as bad over on the islands as they do.
But
here.
you also too would think that Hawaii also too, and this is also too a topic that I mentioned regarding postseason play for football, especially bowls. There's no way we can have postseason bowls
or a national championship
because there's no way that these cities, whether it is Tucson, whether it is Boise, are going to allow at least players or at least schools that are, for instance, like from Las Vegas or from some of those bigger areas to come on out and play and potentially infect those areas, so to speak. Again, Hawaii, that might be a situation where, hey, we've avoided this virus. We don't want any outsiders coming to the islands to potentially cause an outbreak out there. I think that's a legitimate thing, and I think that's probably what's also too happening right now for the Mountain West Conference is you are trying to go team by team and figure out, hey, Hawaii, here's what the plan is going to be. Are you down for it? California schools, Boise State, same with Utah State, down in Colorado with Air Force and CSU. CSU that just got hit by a couple outbreaks, at least they're in the athletic program. So right now, even for the Mountain West Conference, it is very up in the air, and I feel less and less confident that Wyoming will have football this year, or if they do, it's going to be a very short season,
and it's going to be a watered down schedule.
It's going to be a watered down schedule and possibly shortened. And the only thing you're going to be focused on is probably Mountain West Conference Championship, and that's it.
Well, and I think if it's a watered down schedule, do we scrap the Mountain West? For example, and again, let's just say CSU and Air Force are availabilities. Mm-hmm. But do you grab on the schedule South Dakota? Do you grab Montana? And
I think could you have a possible merge between Big Sky Conference and Mountain West where it doesn't really affect qualification or classification, where they are 1AA and, again, the FCS level to the FBS? I think in what 2020 is regarding athletics, I think the NCAA would let that slide of saying, yeah, you could play in your own conference, especially if it's a regional thing, and the more the merrier of teams to get in football and get in athletics or at least a decent schedule. So that could be a possibility.
And this is all pure speculation on our behalf.
Yeah, again, without a doubt. Could Wyoming take on an Idaho, take on the Montana schools, go down to Greeley to see UNC? I think that could be a good possibility. But I think for the Mountain West Conference, especially football, I don't anticipate that you're going to see every single team, a Fresno, a Nevada, a UNLV. There's going to be teams that walk away from this or at least cannot play or are willing not to go. I mean, hell, we're even seeing it here in the state of Wyoming with Region 9 JUCO athletes.
I mean, let's look at the mountain. We'd possibly, again, even though Colorado is under stricter guidelines than here in Wyoming. I would think Air Force and CSU would be viable candidates to play.
CSU's on the bubble, and I think the only team that's at risk right now to possibly not play is probably New Mexico.
All right, so
I think the Lobos, especially, and it's not even just the COVID-19 situation, it is also too the unrest that's happening in Albuquerque. The governor also too said, hey, it's probably not a smart idea. Kind of recommended to both New Mexico
but
and New
hell,
Mexico
you're playing
State.
baseball in Seattle right now, where you got all the crazy. You got Chicago.
And again, that's up to that governor. That governor recommended of saying, hey, we should not play.
Yeah, well, and he's going to be over. He's going to be stepped over by the president. Also, you have the situation here with Boise State. So you look at Boise State,
and again, Boise, Idaho, as a city, has not really been hit
terribly
hard.
So you're looking at Boise State, Wyoming, on the bubble, as you say, CSU, Air Force. So there's 4 teams.
Utah State and Provo, I think, should be fine, or not Provo, but at least in Logan. Utah State should also too be a candidate.
So if we lose New Mexico, that's 5 teams in the mountain. Over in the West, you look at San Diego State.
You have 3 California schools.
Fresno State, San Jose State. There's 3 that could be wiped out.
And those 3, which months ago were alluded to not even play, but again, they found a way to at least get back into athletics or at least entertain the thought. But I think without a doubt, those are probably the highest candidates that do not play athletics in general, including football.
You're saying Vegas and Reno could be on the bubble?
I would say more UNLV has a long shot than Reno. I think University of Nevada may have a good.
Okay, then you have Hawaii. So now what do you do?
I think Hawaii. I think as we're talking, the islands have not been that hard hit and have not had a big outbreak. I think it would be smart, or at least I think what the plan would be, and it wouldn't be surprising if they just said, yeah, we're not risking folks come on over to the islands. Now, if they find a way to get Hawaii, those athletes, to come play at a neutral site, as we're seeing like in baseball with Toronto with the Blue Jays playing at Buffalo, could that be a scenario that Hawaii finds a stadium out here in the West, bubbles themselves in a city, and that is their designated home area, and then flies or travels throughout the Mountain West?
That's going to be way too expensive.
It's going to be expensive, but I think that's the only way you'll see Hawaii. I don't think they're wanting to take that risk of bringing in, a CSU, a UNLV, or some of these other schools that may potentially play in the Mountain West to travel on over. And if they are asymptomatic, don't test, or again, they don't show the positive sign, but it still passes, and then it kind of grows and grows. I don't think Hawaii's going to take that chance.
Well, and like you mentioned, it's very unusual that we are not getting updates from Craig Thompson, the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, because, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the time we start getting into summer camps. I mean, tomorrow's August 1st.
Yeah. Again, Mountain West has been one of the few conferences that has been just absolutely quiet on what's going on. Even in FBS level, I think even with the MAC, the Sun Belt, Mountain West, for whatever reason, has not even gave a statement like the Big Sky did today, or at least they did about 20 some odd hours ago, saying, hey, we're going to go off of what the NCAA says next week. No, the Mountain West has just said nothing, which is very surprising.
And it's surprising, too, when you mentioned the likes of Army and Navy, and we'll get into the BYU situation. I know we got about a few more minutes here before Pat. But, with Army and Navy, what's to say that Air Force doesn't pull out of the Mountain West and they just do their Commander-in-Chief's Cup trophy? They play just a couple of games this year. I mean, I don't know.
Or is it also, too, again, where you're dealing with, cadets and future military members that, hey, is it best for those to step off the fields there at Air Force, Navy, and Army and just, and avoid that infection, not even compete? Could that be a reality? I think without a doubt. For Army and Navy, if we're keeping things to a local, at least regional thing, I'm surprised that ACC has not reached out to them, or the American Conference, or again, some conference out there on the East Coast side of things hasn't reached out and said, hey, come join us.
Well, you got West Point, New York, and then you got Annapolis, Maryland. So that would be more of an ACC type of venture for them.
They also, too, join the Big 12, where you do have the rogue kind of West Virginia team out there that is separated from that Mid-South, Texas, Oklahoma, at least representation of the Big 12, where, hey, West Virginia could have short trips to Annapolis, Go see Navy as well, too. Who knows right now?
But the team that's rogue right now really is BYU. And
BYU right now,
nobody wants them.
They lost their shot at the Pac-12, where people were alluding that was the route, especially with them in Utah, to make that kind of an easy thing. But right now, I think their only option is the Mountain West. But
I just don't know.
I don't think they would drop down. I don't think they would drop down to the Big Sky.
I don't think the presidents or the athletic directors, however it is, the board, the Mountain West, just the way BYU left. I just don't think that the Mountain West is going to be that forgiving right now of having the Cougars back in here. So they could be a school without anybody to play.
Yeah, and again,
unless they play everybody in Utah, but again, Utah is only going to play Pac-12.
Your only option would be the Utah States of the world, and
Weber State.
If BYU remains as an independent as we head into, or at least get closer, and they don't sign to a conference, could it be a reality that a lot of Mountain West schools just go, hey, for a non-conference filler to get more games on the schedule, all right, we'll add you. Could they also, too, move down to the FCS level to see some Big Sky opponents as well, too, to keep it as, again, we're trying to, or at least it sounds like in the NCAA, we're keeping it regional. And same with JUCO. We're seeing it where even with LCCC, hey, we're keeping it regional, no non-conference out-of-state stuff, or at least out of the Mountain West region in Nebraska. I think that's BYU's reality right now, where if you're not picked up by the Big Sky, if you're not picked up by the Mountain West, you want to remain as an independent, then you got to start scheduling those non-conference against Utah State, Wyoming, CSU, maybe go up to Idaho State.
But now again, let's go back to the Mountain West Conference. Doesn't it make sense to add BYU for this year?
Yeah.
Especially on the west side.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. I think for the Mountain West, it would be a huge signing to get BYU back.
Hear me out on this one. Would it also, and if we do lose the California schools, just for argument's sake, folks, if we lost the California schools, and let's say Vegas and Nevada don't, make the grade, would we be wrong to ask Navy and Army?
No, I don't.
To come to the Mountain West.
To have those teams travel across country? No. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Because, again, right now you're seeing the NCAA of what is the trend is you're keeping it close. You got to keep it close right now. Again, you're seeing the Power 5 conferences saying, no, we are not crossing multiple state lines and said we're keeping it too. Out there in the Big Ten, right there in the Midwest, Illinois, Wisconsin, you're keeping it within that pretty close reach right now. Same with the ACC. Same with what you're seeing with the Pac-12. I think the Mountain West, again, for Army and Navy, I think it's not a reality. I think right now for those two schools is you could remain independent, but you got to book some teams out there in that east side, whether it is looking to the American Conference or looking into the MAC. You'd probably be pushing it with the Sun Belt Conference, but again, you got to look out there.
They also could be a part of the Ivy League.
Yeah, Ivy League as well too. Could this be something that you see teams move down a classification just for the season? Yeah, without a doubt.
Because again, there's not going to be a national champion.
No, there's no way. There's no way you have bowl games. There's no way you have national championships this year, at least for football. There's just no way. I do not see that happening.
Well, and again, it would be a crown champion this year with an asterisk. It would be a tainted crown champion if you do that. Because let's just say,
again, you're going off a conference. You're not getting tested out a conference.
That's right. And you're going Utah goes 11-0, and Notre Dame goes 12-0 in the ACC, and Ohio State goes undefeated, and the Cowboys are undefeated in the Mountain West. So I mean, who do you crown as a national? There can't be a national champion.
How do you judge what conference is more talented, more at least tougher on each other, and what was more the impressive undefeated record? Without a doubt, yeah. Again, will polls even exist? And I think this.
I would hope not.
I would assume that the NCAA, this is going to be something that they discuss within recent weeks, or if not next week, of how is this going to unfold? Because there's no way you can have a coaches and AP poll because it's going to be completely skewed. There's no way you can accurately say Alabama's the number one team in the land. Are they? They're just playing SEC teams. Is the SEC as good as we think it is? Because, again, they're just playing against themselves. Is Ohio State the best team in the land, even though they're playing against a Big Ten? What says that the Big Ten is not weak this year? Right. Yeah, it's going to be skewed, and I don't think polls are going to also be a reality for football this year, if it even happens. That is also, too, the question right now, if college football even happens.
Yeah, and then we look at the NFL.
And we also too need to get to our guests.
All right, so I guess, as we look at the NFL, camps should be getting underway this weekend, or beginning next week. So, everything's all dependent on the
They have no
right
preseason
now.
games as of right now, so it's just regular season only for the NFL.
That's why camps are starting a couple weeks late. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We'll come back with our first guest after these words right here on 1480 KRAE.
Up into the KRAE Time Machine each Monday through Thursday for the golden age of radio, featuring famous radio classics such as Jack Armstrong and Suspense Theater, along with pioneers in the entertainment industry like Bob Hope and Abbott and Costello, along with many other performers who've captured our ears many, many years ago. Join us for the golden age of radio Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 p.m. on 1480 KRAE, also 101.1 FM, and you can also stream all of our programming on 1480krae.com.
Family-owned and operated Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, has been serving our community for over 25 years with quality service and workmanship. So when you want it done right the first time, call Lennox Auto Body at 634-6608 for an appointment. Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue. And the Auto Glass and Detail Center, remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean at 617 East Pershing Boulevard.
Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
At First Tier Bank, we are proud to be a member of this great community and will always support all of our high school athletes. First Tier Bank takes great pride in sponsoring the live broadcast of the games and would like to wish all of our teams good luck. We share the credo with Newt Rockney when he said, "One man practicing sportsmanship is far better than 100 teaching it." It's all about the high school sports at First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, Cheyenne. Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range across from Powers Field is a proud sponsor of our high school and LCCC student athletes. Chick-fil-A always offers 2 convenient drive-through lanes to pick up your order if you are on the go. Plus, they have an excellent dining room for the whole family. And remember to order ahead. Use the Chick-fil-A app on your phone. Stop into Chick-fil-A today, open Monday through Saturday, where you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your home for the real chicken sandwich taste. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range. The message is simple. Drive sober or get pulled over. If you drink and drive, remember it's illegal and it can cost you your freedom or worse, your life. It's been determined that a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or more can impair you considerably when you are behind the wheel. Financially, it can devastate you if you get arrested. More importantly, it could result in losing a friend or a family member. That price is too high to pay. Call a designated driver after enjoying a night out and get home safe. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds.
When it comes to sports talk in Cheyenne, it's a whole new ballgame.
Let's play ball!
You're listening to Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Larry Proetti along with Nick Proetti, and baptizing our new phone unit system that we have in place here is Pat Graham, our good friend, Denver AP sports writer. Pat, good to have you back on the program. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Pat, I'm going to step away from the professional portion of the program because, I'll let Nick get into that with all that's going on down there in the Mile High City. I got to ask you this question because Nick and myself just got done having this discussion with the Pac-12, basically going to play Pac-12 this year. The Mountain West, we just don't know, and we're not hearing anything from Commissioner Craig Thompson. You, along with us, we're kind of involved with the Mountain West Conference. Are you hearing anything? Are we hearing? Are we still waiting on the California teams? Do we know what could possibly happen in the Mountain West on the mountain side? Do you have any feels right now?
Nothing. We're in a holding pattern. I have heard nothing. I'm getting no inklings of anything. I mean, the fact that Colorado State just had 8 positive tests since June, and they've paused team activities for now. I mean, that's not a thing you want to hear at this point. I just think they're just waiting. I mean, it was good to see the Pac-12 come out today, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, again, where they at least announce a conference schedule for all of those Pac-12 teams, where, again, Colorado, no longer the Rocky Mountain Showdown for this season. Again, it is just Pac-12 play only. But for you, Pat, where next week NCAA is supposed to come out and address at least fall sports or make an announcement where the Big Sky Conference, which involves Northern Colorado up there in Greeley, and I would assume the Mountain West is going to follow suit, or at least they're waiting for that NCAA kind of announcement next week. But how confident are you that Mountain West, for instance, CSU, Air Force, even Colorado right now with the Buffs, are even going to have a football season this year?
I'm very concerned. I mean, I hate to say that, but I just don't know how. I mean, right now you're having positive tests and there's no one on campus. What happens when you have everyone back on campus? Some schools might remote learn, and that's fine. But I'm just concerned because I don't know how you make it work. I don't know how you avoid some having an outbreak. I don't know. And if you have one person, how does it not spread? There's just so many unknowns. I mean, look at the Miami Marlins. I mean, that's a perfect example. One person, it starts out small, and next thing you know, your whole team's infected.
Yeah, and again, at least that concern at least got to be pretty high right now for Major League Baseball, where St. Louis Cardinals also too had their games postponed, looking to reschedule, or at least they're hoping for that makeup date on August 2nd with the Brewers. But right now, we'll get you a level of concern right now as well with the MLB, where we're seeing, hey, the Rockies are able to play. They're one of the hot teams right now early on at 4-1 right there with the New York Yankees. But will they even be able to play postseason baseball, have a chance for the World Series if more and more outbreaks happen throughout Major League Baseball?
Will they even be in business by Monday? That might be an interesting press conference that you're at today, Pat.
No, you're right. It's I hate to use the word concerning all the time, but that's what it is. That's all you can say. It's alarming when you see a couple outbreaks, and we talked to some of the Rockies today, and they're concerned. And rightfully so. I mean, it's they want to play baseball, but it's out of their control. They're not in a bubble like the NBA and the NHL, and it's hard to keep things contained when you're not in a bubble. Even in a bubble, it might be hard.
Let's get away from Major League Baseball. Let's move on to Dove Valley. And what do we know with the Broncos? What's the schedule like there for Drew Lock and company getting ready for a non-preseason? And hopefully this doesn't have trickle down with Major League Baseball and all the other sports going, that we do have a football season.
Well, they're gonna do some team activities. They're gonna do some weightlifting, and they're gonna gradually get them into pads. The best comparison I can say, it's kind of like, instead of training camp, traditional training camp, you're basically gonna have basically like your equivalent of the OTAs or your mini camps, and then you're gonna move into training camp. That way you can get these guys up to speed. It's just gonna be hard to get some of these rookies up. I don't know how much they're gonna contribute, how much you expect them to contribute. I just John Elway came out the other day and basically, tempered his expectations, saying there's just a lot of unknowns. Then Drew Lock comes out today and basically says, "I'm going to have a great year." So he's confident. I like that confidence out of your quarterback.
It's been tossed out, and keeping on the NFL side, where it seems like some ownership or at least some teams are looking to at least get fans back in the stands, whether it is social distancing, and again, have the bonus of it being outdoors, and again, where you can kind of figure out in those larger stadiums how to really social distance fans. But again, ideally, if we get NFL Week 1 football starting for the Denver Broncos there at Mile High Stadium, is that going to be the potential first pro sport that we have fans at, Pat, or do you still find it a little hard for fans to be in stands even for NFL games?
I find it hard for fans to be in the stands even for NFL games. I just I don't know how comfortable you feel eating inside a restaurant or outside a restaurant, or do you still do takeout, or how you handle that. I just don't know. There's a lot of people afraid, and if I'm a fan, and if you have 20-25% capacity and you can safely do it, you have to think long and hard about whether you want to do it. I mean, if you're a football fan, you probably will, and I think I would, but it's just there's so many unknowns. I mean, there's so many hypotheticals you just don't know right now.
So let's get away from all the hypotheticals. We know that the NBA is in Kissimmee, Florida right now, which includes the Denver Nuggets. So again, we look at games that are underway at the two sites right now. The Nuggets were doing pretty doggone good before everything shut down. And I guess, Pat, and this would also hold true with the Avalanche, I guess the time off, the time away got some people healthy, even though we had Jokic test positive. But
he slimmed down.
Yeah,
as well.
he slimmed down. He looks good. I mean, the Nuggets are kind of loaded for bear, really, in Kissimmee.
They are, but they were struggling a little bit before everything shut down, and they came back, and they're just not playing their best ball right now. I mean, the whole key is you got to get Jamal Murray going. I mean, you know, the new sensation is obviously Bol. He looks great. He's shooting great. He's just he's just fun to watch. He's 7'2" and just has all sorts of range and just a difference maker. But he's a rookie who hasn't played. So how much can you depend on in postseason basketball? Well, probably not much if you're Michael Malone. That said, Jamal Murray is the key to this thing. I mean, you're going to get what you get from Jokic. He's going to be great. His track record last year showed that given a big game, he's going to come up big. And if Jamal Murray gets his game gets his game back, they're going to be fine. If he doesn't, it could be a short postseason.
So as we're seeing right now, again, it's regular season games for the NBA as they're trying to at least determine seedings for the upcoming playoffs happening in August out there in the Orlando area. But, we know what the hype is right now, again, looking at the two LA squads with the Clippers and the Nuggets out of the Western Conference. But in your opinion, Pat, even though you're saying, hey, the Nuggets struggling a bit right now, but they can get some of those pieces at least back and healthy and kind of firing on all cylinders, do the Nuggets still have a shot at competing for an NBA championship in 2020, or is it pretty much of, hey, get out of those LA teams' way right now?
Well, I mean, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, hey, I wouldn't put money on it, but I would bet. I mean, LeBron James to me is you can't go wrong with him, obviously, and then Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, but I like the way the Jazz are coming up. I like them a lot. The Nuggets right now, I'm worried for them. I mean, they have a couple games here to get things squared away and get their rotations back set, but I need to see more. Don't you?
I think without a doubt, it's pretty much of how the break did affect them and seeing what other teams are kind of responding, especially where we are in this interesting bubble time out there in Orlando. So it'll be interesting to see how this quote unquote kind of abbreviated regular season, the determined seeding, kind of unfolds and who's doing well, especially with a lot of these NBA teams missing some big pieces as well too that stepped away saying, hey, I'm not going to play due to the COVID-19 outbreak. So be very interesting.
That's true, but again, I mean, how much does seeding even matter? I mean, if you're a 3 seed or a 4 seed or a 5 seed, if you're 4 or 5 seed, it would have mattered, in March, but now it doesn't matter because there's really no home court advantage,
Right. Let me ask you this question, Pat. I don't know if there's a cardboard cutout of you at Coors Field, but I mean, it's an interesting part of our careers, especially, the Drew Goodmans of the world calling the games, not at site, again, for the media, not being a part of this. It's got to be just a different feel for you and your job. You still got to write, but it's not being there.
Well, I'm going today. I'm going to be in the stadium today. I'm going to see how it goes. I don't know. I want to see how everything looks. The Rockies will do a great job. They always do. And I'll feel safe. We'll all feel safe. I just I don't know what it's going to be like. I'm anxious to see it. It's first live sporting event I've attended since March. I'm anxious to go. I'm excited, and it's the first time I've worn long pants in a long time.
Well, let's talk about real quick here before we wrap things up. One of the sites you won't be at, that will be at Edmonton, Alberta, Canada for now, and that would be where the Colorado Avalanche, again, will be playing for seeding.
Yeah, they're in that round robin.
They're in that round robin portion of the program, and again, this will be seeding for the West. Again, the rest, some injuries got healed up. I actually, if I'm going to track this, I put the Avalanche right there on the top for the West. I know St. Louis is the defending Stanley Cup champions, but I give the inside track right now to the Avs.
If you just said that in March, I would have said, they're too banged up. Now I really, really like this team. They're firing on all cylinders. Rantanen's back. McKinnon's healthy. McCarr's healthy. Kadri's back, Burakovsky's back, Grubauer's back. You just go down the list. I mean, they're healthy. They look good. I mean, you ask them how they played against Minnesota, they're like, yeah, we played okay, and they still won 3-2, whatever. But they look good. I mean, they're loaded. They're so fun to watch. They're so talented. They have goaltending. They have defense. They have everything you want.
Yeah, again, they are kind of set right now for, a cruise or at least a nice trip to possible Stanley Cup Finals. Again, they will be underway. Game 1 of their round robin again coming up tomorrow as they'll face off against the St. Louis Blues. So, final thought for me, Pat, as you know, we're back into pro sports here across the nation with MLB regular season and NBA regular season partially, and then the playoffs right now for the NHL. But for you, Pat, again, especially down there in Colorado, where it's been a little bit different than up here in the state of Wyoming, where we have, again, American Legion baseball going underway, softball as well too. But what's your summertime kind of looked like before we got back into sports? What were kind of the things to cover down there in the state of Colorado?
Well, that's interesting. It's funny because I right now in a normal world, there's a new normal now, but I'd be in Tokyo right now covering the Olympics. You know, I was doing a lot of Olympic lead-up stuff. I did a big takeout on Jesse Owens in the 36 games. Just trying to do a little bit of everything. Just trying to, we've done some projects. You know, I jumped over to the news side and helped out a little bit. We're just trying to, keep busy until our sports return. It's amazing how much of a void it left, and it's just, you go, as you guys know, you cover things and all of a sudden it's not there, and it's just this empty feeling. It's like, I'm glad it's back, and I hope everything works out. I'm just hoping baseball stays around and football starts up. It's just, we've missed it.
Well, Pat, we want to thank you for taking time out, especially you being at a press conference today. We do appreciate that, and we'll check in with you from time to time and keep our fingers crossed that we'll have sports to report on throughout the course of late summer and into fall. Take care, buddy.
Always a pleasure talking to you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Pat Graham, Denver AP Sports writer, joining us here on 1480 KRAE. And do we have to take one more break here? We're going to take a timeout. Get ready to take you to the top of the hour. We'll be right back. The next best thing to seeing the daddy of them all is visiting the Cfd Old West Museum this summer. Come for a visit and celebrate the history and legacy of Cheyenne Frontier Days. You can see their one-of-a-kind carriage collection, along with Western art. And the CFD Western Art Show exhibit is on now through August 16th. Also enjoy the history of CFD's growth, from a dream into the daddy of them all. The museum houses the CFD Hall of Fame inductees. The Dandies exhibit, celebrating their 50th anniversary of these young women who are the year-round ambassadors for Cheyenne Frontier Days. The CFD Old West Museum is now open daily from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m., located at 4610 KRAE Avenue on the northeast corner of Frontier Park. It's fun for the entire family, and don't forget to visit the website at oldwestmuseum.org.
If you're looking for fun and style, then the new 2019 Kia Optima has what you need. And here at Kia of Cheyenne, we can help you own one. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Optima will reward your daily drive with comfort, performance, and advanced engineering. Kia Optima technology, your phone allows access to remote lock or unlock, climate control, 24-hour roadside assistance, and much more. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
Concentrate on nothing but your medications and your health. Each location is a locally owned, full-service neighborhood pharmacy. We won't make you walk through aisles and aisles of stuff or wait in a long line. Instead, we'll always make time for you by listening, answering your questions, and explaining your prescriptions.
Medicap Pharmacy, we'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Is a refinance right for you? Rates are great. With a refinance from Platte Valley Bank, you can save money, lower your monthly payment, pay off other outstanding debt, or even shorten your loan term. Ask a Platte Valley Bank mortgage lender how a refinance could benefit you today, or start the process online at www.pvbank.com.
You can count on Platte Valley Bank.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply.
10 years ago, the Department of Defense selected High West Energy to provide electricity on F.E. Warren Air Force Base. For a decade, we have been proud to work hand in hand with the Air Force leadership to ensure we provide the base with the affordable, reliable power it needs to be an economic driver for the region and serve a vital national security interest for this country. High West Energy, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
It is hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk today, as we'll be bringing our next guest on here in a few minutes. We do want to thank the likes of Mondello's Pizzeria. Joe, beginning his 5th decade in business here in Cheyenne. Mondello's Pizzeria open Monday through Saturday, beginning at 11 o'clock. Sundays at 12 noon for an absolute delicious pizza. Again, always freshly made. The pizza is so good, it's still ranked number 1 in Wyoming. After all these years, still ranked in the top 10 by the Food Network, folks. You got to try a slice or grab the whole pie from our friends over at Mondello's Pizzeria, 778-6068 for takeout. First Tier Bank's right across the street. Bank you done the old-fashioned way. You, customer service, always first and foremost. And again, even though interest rates are down, you still can find something acceptable for you over at First Tier Bank. Talk with our friends over there. They can get a good maturity rate for you really right now. Just call them at 632-3500. Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. They're both part of Lennox Enterprises. Again, taking care of our vehicle needs and cures as they've been, taking care of those bangs and dents and everything else. They've been doing this for over 25 years now. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Call for your appointment, even just to bring it by for an estimate, 634-6608. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Again, appliances, yes. Televisions, yes. Service department, of course. They service what they sell. B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue, 638-6468. Matiash Pharmacy. For all your pharmaceutical needs, remember Gene and the crew, they're Monday through Saturday. They are next door to Texas Roadhouse, as they've always been a Bluegrass Circle. Come on in. They're practicing the social distancing, or if you feel incumbent that you need to be away and you want to be in the drive-through area, go ahead. They got a convenient drive-through too. Matiash Pharmacy open Monday through Saturday. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range, they're open Monday through Saturday beginning at 7 in the morning, and they close at 10 p.m. 2 convenient drive-throughs, the mobile curbside, but most importantly, August is, forthcoming, a great month, especially for birthdays, us Leos. Again, you want to remember Chick-fil-A caters. So let them come on out and do all the work so you don't have to. Let them bring out all the delicious eats and treats. Chick-fil-A, go to CheyenneChicken.com. Windmill and Del Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. 2 convenient drive-thrus, and don't forget they got the mobile curbside. Platte Valley Bank times 2. Corner of College and Pershing, and the original location on Vanda High. Many services that Platte Valley Bank is offering to you right now. Plus, they got something brand new coming up on August 3rd. Platte Valley Bank, 778-0021. We want to thank Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. Again, you can shop online, KiaofCheyenne.com, or you can kick a few tires, take a test drive by going onto the lot, and they have the all-new Kia Seltos, the newest SUV from the Kia family, and AJ's got one out there for you to test drive as well. You can do your business that way as well, too. They're sanitizing hourly, and they've got hand sanitizer there if you need to wear a mask. You can wear a mask, too. Do it online. Come out in person. Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way. And our scoreboard is being brought to you by our 5 locations at Taco John's of Cheyenne, South Greeley Highway, downtown KRAE Avenue. Also, you'll find them on Yellowstone Road, Del Range and Ridge, Pershing and Ridge. And remember, you can use the Taco John's app for delivery as well. Taco John's of Cheyenne. Here's the scoreboard.
Local action coming up today, at least here in about 30 minutes out there in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Cheyenne Post 6 in action, taking on North Platte. Again, that is a 4:30 start time. And then also, too, they will have a game right after that one there in Scottsbluff against the West Coast Zephyrs. Tentative start time for that one about 7 o'clock. So, again, those are 2 games happening for Cheyenne Post 6, happening today, happening tomorrow for Cheyenne Extreme, as it is their final weekend of action. They will have 3 games on the slate, all down in Fort Lupton, Colorado, where 10 a.m. or at least 10:30 a.m. Cheyenne Extreme will take on the Fever Fast Pitch. 12 noon, they will see the NC Sting Mesa team, and then 3 o'clock, all happening in Fort Lupton. Cheyenne Extreme will see the NC Sting. This is pool play before tournament action in Sunday down there in Fort Lupton. And again, it is the final weekend of action for the Cheyenne Extreme. Now on the pro side of things, NHL action, which is 5 months in the making. We will have at least games upcoming. Again, happening tomorrow. It's going to be the New York Rangers seeing the Carolina Hurricanes, Edmonton Oilers, and the Chicago Blackhawks. Again, these games for the Western Conference happening in Edmonton, the Eastern Conference happening in Toronto, Ontario. Florida Panthers taking on the New York Islanders, Pittsburgh Penguins seeing the Montreal Canadiens, and the Winnipeg Jets seeing the Calgary Flames. Again, those are games that are happening. These are the qualifying games to get into the playoffs. Again, it's to get into the playoffs, that next step.
NBA scoreboard as they are participating at the ESPN Wild World of Sports Complex in Kissimmee. Well, except for NBA staffers that are on site, teams are playing. And the Grizzlies lead the Trailblazers. This would be just into the closing seconds of the third period. Grizz on top 96-90. They are about a third of the way through in the fourth quarter, and the Suns continue to lead the Washington Wizards 97-86. Magic have already defeated the Nets earlier this afternoon, 128-116. And again, as Nick mentioned, this goes on their record, their current regular season record. For example, the Magic now 31-35. Some of these teams that got invited, they're still viable candidates for that 8th and final playoff spot.
Yeah, again, they're not playoff bound. They're playing for playoff.
Again, the ones that got invited actually have a shot even at that outside number 8 spot. Games that will be getting underway here in a little bit. Celtics will be entertained by the Bucks. Kings and Spurs will hook up around 6, and at 7. It will be the Rockets and the Mavericks. Again, this is all from Kissimmee, Florida. Now we move on to Major League Baseball. All of the activity will venture under the lights tonight. Now, one game has already been wiped out due to COVID possibilities, and that would be the Cardinals and the Brewers. That was wiped out in Milwaukee. The tentative makeup date looks like a double dip will be coming up on August 2nd.
Well, there's 3 games that have been wiped out due to...
Well, I know, but I'm just saying...
2 teams have been hit by outbreaks, that being Miami. And
Philly, the Blue Jays, that has been postponed. That's indefinite.
And again, Phillies have to at least sit idly by due to the fact that they're series with the Miami Marlins, so they're trying to avoid it.
Well, the Phillies only got 3 games in. The Blue Jays, for example, got 7 in. The Nationals already with 7 games under their belt. They have to sit idle, and the Marlins are also under COVID-19 protocol. So, again, 3 games wiped out for this evening. Games that are scheduled, Red Sox and Yankees, and you might want to enjoy this weekend because this could be the final weekend. Could be. Red Sox at the Yankees, Mets and the Braves will be in Cumberland, Georgia. And again, I don't want to be the guy that's saying the sky is falling, but we're hearing inklings from Major League Baseball right now. Reds at the Tigers. It will be the Rays and the Orioles at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium hosting the White Sox. Padres and the Rockies from Coors Field. Rocks 4-1. Padres 5-2 this season. Indians and the Twins at Target Field. Pirates, Cubs at Wrigley. It will be San Francisco entertaining the Texas Rangers. Houston Astros will have a date with the Angels at Angel Stadium in Anaheim. Dodgers, D-backs, that will be at Chase Field. And the Athletics and the Mariners will be at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Our scoreboard brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne.
Taco John's presents the most satisfying burrito ever. Challenge. We challenge you to find a burrito as big on flavor as the new Boss Burrito or Bowl, with over a pound of grilled chicken and cilantro lime rice. And we also challenge you to find it for less than $6. Go ahead. We'll wait. The new $6 Boss Burrito or Bowl from Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better. Download the Taco John's app today for even more exclusive deals.
Crunching! If it happens on the diamond, the hardwood, the field, or even the ice, we'll talk about it on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Hi, this is Nick Peretti inviting you to join Larry Peretti and myself each weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. as we, along with our special guests, talk sports locally, regionally, and nationally. And you can chat with us too at 307-514-1071. It's Wyoming Sports Talk today only on 1480 KRAE, and you can stream live with us at 1480krae.com.
Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range across from Powers Field is a proud sponsor of our high school and LCCC student athletes. Chick-fil-A always offers 2 convenient drive-through lanes to pick up your order if you are on the go. Plus, they have an excellent dining room for the whole family. And remember to order ahead. Use the Chick-fil-A app on your phone. Stop into Chick-fil-A today, open Monday through Saturday, where you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your home for the real chicken sandwich taste. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range. No matter what tomorrow brings, some things won't change, like Schwab's commitment to see the world through clients' eyes. That commitment is why Schwab is always here for their clients with clear guidance and committed service to help maintain focus on achieving long-term goals. So whatever happens today, Schwab remains invested in you. Visit schwab.com/Cheyenne to learn how Schwab is ready to help.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call the Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be mostly sunny with highs around 83. Then for tonight, it'll be mostly clear with lows around 53. On Saturday, it'll be sunny with highs around 82. And on Saturday night, it'll be partly cloudy with lows around 52.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk Today, hour number 2. Larry Peretti, along with Nick Peretti. We bring on our next guest, and we haven't talked to her in a long, long time, Victoria Matiash, ESPN.com NHL writer. Victoria, it is so wonderful to have you back on our program. I guess as we open up our segment with you, everything shut down back in March. I'm sure you've been asked this question bazillions of times. How did you keep busy and stay busy when we had nothing professionally going on?
First of all, it's really nice to talk to you two gentlemen again, not only because it's great to talk to you as it has been in the past, but it's also just nice to do something normal again. Isn't it great just
it feels like sports are normal again, yes.
A little bit. I mean, the last couple of months, at least, we were able to talk about the potential of sports coming back and what the leagues were going to do and how they were going to address the threat of COVID-19 and keep everybody safe. But now it's actually happening, and I think all of us sports fans, whether we're in the business or not, are kind of breathing a bit of a sigh of relief. After the last few months, not very busy, lots of cleaning. I think I reorganized my linen closet several times, and many other household tasks like that. A lot of Netflix, a lot of books, a lot of magazines, but really not much else.
It's kind of that extended vacation, so to speak, of, hey, sit back and kind of enjoy and then hope for an NHL season to return, or at least playoffs, which, again, will return officially coming up tomorrow up there in Edmonton and also, too, Toronto. But that's something also, too, Victoria, last time we talked with you, you were still at least out there in Toronto, Ontario. Toronto, where basically they kicked out the Blue Jays, said, hey, go play somewhere else. You're not playing in at least Rogers Stadium. You got to go down to Buffalo, or at least they finally figured that out. But the interesting thing, once those cities were selected for the NHL, for the Eastern Conference and Western Conference, Toronto was at least one city for the Eastern Conference. Why is it that we're having playoffs NHL-wise there in Toronto, but the Blue Jays can't play there?
Well, basically, the rules here in Canada is if you leave the country, if you're able to, and you come back, you have to quarantine for 14 days. So the fact that we're housing, well, I say we as in because I am here in Toronto, we're housing the Eastern Conference in the NHL, nobody's going anywhere. They're not leaving their bubble. So they're not going out to restaurants, they're not hanging out with their family, they're not leaving at all. Whereas the Blue Jays, never mind the team itself, but all the visitors coming in and out, and what they wanted was the federal government to waive the 14-day quarantine rule. And the government, to their credit or not, and I think it's to their credit, decided that they're not going to make exception for a professional athlete when they're not making the exception for any other individual. So, I mean, I can tell you personally, I had to travel to the States, not for a vacation in June, and I had to go down, and when I came back, I could not leave my house for 14 days. I could not walk out onto the sidewalk. I accepted that, and of course I did it as a responsible citizen. It was pretty miserable, to be honest, because the weather was nice, but they just weren't willing to extend that exception to athletes when others had to, toe the rules.
You know, it's nice that the National Hockey League could get the two sites in Edmonton as well as Toronto. I guess, and especially with the situation in Canada, as they would say, a little bit safer, digs than here in the U.S. Was Montreal or Vancouver even in the thought process?
Calgary, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, yeah. Were they in the thought process, too, from NHL?
I believe so. I think Vancouver was in it for a long time. I think Vancouver, the province, was, because we're the same up here. That states, like you guys do, states have certain jurisdiction, right? And up here, provinces have certain jurisdiction as well. And my understanding is British Columbia, well, obviously where Vancouver is, their demands were a little bit stricter on the NHL, so maybe that's why they were not picked at the end. I don't know exactly the thought process. I was a little surprised Toronto was chosen, but we've come a long way numbers-wise. Our numbers are much better now than they were, say, 6 weeks, 8 weeks ago. And but for whatever reason, there was also a lot of infrastructure that played into it. Both Edmonton and Toronto have hotels attached to restaurants that the players can have exclusive use of, and there's the training facilities that it made sense. And so far, I mean, guys, so far so good. All the testing they've done so far since everybody has arrived, 0 positive cases. I mean, you can't have any complaints about that.
Yeah, without a doubt. Where MLB is running into a lot of issues right now, but
good at least, glory, aren't they ever? Oh my goodness! Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there.
Again, we're anticipating probably next week that MLB might be on a pause in just general. But either way, though, again for the NHL and for the NBA, at least with the bubble, it showed that it's working, and hey, it's going to move forward now. Regarding the NHL, we're going to start up at least tomorrow with a lot of these games with the qualifying rounds for teams to at least get that seeding to have kind of the NHL playoff opportunity. But as this was announced, and now it's finally here, Victoria, what is your thoughts on the qualifying rounds? Was this the right move by the NHL, or is it something that we should have taken the normal seeding from the at least official regular season and just gone forward like that?
I think it's the best compromise that they could come up with. And talking to other people in the game or just regular fans, my understanding is most people are pretty happy with it. I'm perfectly satisfied with it because you could make the argument, even with there was only a handful of games left, right, guys? But still, other teams could make the argument, hey, we could have won those last few games, and if another team lost those last few games, then we were owed the opportunity to do that. And I think the way that they're running this, they're still rewarding the top teams in terms of like the top 4 in each conference aren't going to get eliminated. They're just playing for seeding. I don't know if the intensity of those games is going to be the same, but that's for them to figure out. And then it gives the opportunity to a Montreal Canadiens squad that could very well make the argument that they were not mathematically eliminated and maybe they would go on a run. And so I think it's a very decent compromise. I like that it's a best of 5 and not a best of 7. I think that's a bit much. But I didn't want a single game either, because anybody can win a game. At least in a best of 5, you get a shot to redeem yourself if you go out and really, stink it out one night.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, we've seen in previous NHL playoffs, even before COVID-19 happened, where anything and everything can happen. Those upsets can happen. Now, you mentioned Montreal, and looking on the West, at least conference side with the Chicago Blackhawks, where, again, it's a team that had a good core of the 2010 era where they were racking up Stanley Cups that could make a run, and they know they've been there, did it, done it, how to get to that Stanley Cup final. But do you foresee of how the qualifying rounds and the round robin is set up that Montreal, that Chicago could be those teams that do a little damage in this playoffs and could kind of cause a little havoc in the playoffs?
Oh, I think right now, it's wide open. Especially in the early knockoff stage, I think it's wide open because everybody is healthy again, right? And everybody is going to be, the players are going to be in different degrees of shape. Some of them, I'm sure, spent 8 hours in the gym, and some of them obviously did not. So it's all going to come together very, very quickly, and I think the biggest factor going forward is going to be goaltending, especially in the best of 5 series. You have a hot goaltender, so you're bringing up the Penguins-Montreal series. If Carey Price is just on, I think Montreal can beat the Penguins, but he has to be spectacular. He can always steal a game, and if he steals a couple, it's all up in the air. Right? And I think that's going to apply to a lot of different series. The Blackhawks, I think, and I'm still picking the Penguins to win it, but I'm just saying anything is possible, especially if you do have a hot hand in net. The Blackhawks and Oilers, I don't know. I watched McDavid skate the other night. Oh, boy. I think they're going to be pretty formidable out there. And, again, if it comes down to goaltending, and, the Oilers have 2 options, at least that's something. But if they both flounder, Chicago, they still have the talent. They've got Patrick Kane. They've got Jonathan Toews. They've got Alex DeBrincat. They still have the talent up front to pull it off. I think that's much less likely, but I think we're going to be in for some surprises. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely the X factor, especially in that Chicago series, is going to be one, at least Crawford in the net, if that's who they go forward with, where he can't get hot and could slow down that Edmonton team.
We're talking with Victoria Matiash, who is the ESPN.com NHL writer. Victoria, and I'll get into the Avalanche here in a little bit because I want to get the perspective of these hockey players on the ice. I've been watching baseball, and you can hear the crack of the bat, and it sounds so nice and loud in these empty stadiums. And, of course, in the NBA games, well, you got NBA staffers, and you got people there that have to run the clock and all that. And I'm sure that will be the case, for NHL games. But if they do cardboard cutouts, great, terrific. But what's it going to be like for these teams? Because a lot of these teams, I think in hockey, more than anything, they feed off the crowd, the excitement, especially, when people are up against the glass and everything else. It's going to be a different feel.
Of course it is. And, we already got a little bit of a taste of it because every team got an exhibition game. So, and a lot of them were televised up here in Canada. So we were able to see a little bit of it. They're not doing the cardboard cutouts like MLB. They have a big, massive tarp over top of all the seats, which actually does, for television, it looks better than empty seats. It just, the aesthetics of it is it's an improvement. Is it going to be the same? Of course it's not going to be the same. And I think the players recognize it's not going to be the same. But the thing is, just like us, observers and spectators, they're going to have to get used to it. And it's an even playing field. They're all playing ice, I should say. They're all playing under the same circumstances. And I still think their compete level, these guys are the best at what they do. And their compete level is through the roof. And I think once they get into it and once the games matter, I don't think not having the crowd is going to make that much of a difference. And I think we're just going to get used to it.
Let's go now to our team down the road, the Colorado Avalanche, and obviously March they were kind of struggling a little bit. Injuries really hit them hot and heavy with some key players. They're healthy now. Is this team the dangerous team right now in the West?
I think there are two, and this is with full respect to the St. Louis Blues, but the Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche are for lack of a better term, the two scariest teams in the West. And you hit the nail on the head. They were so banged up this season. But the Columbus Blue Jackets were banged up too. Other teams were banged up, but their stars were banged up. Other than Nathan McKinnon, who did have a healthy year, Landeskog had issues, Rantanen had issues, Kadri was out for an extended time, Cale Makar, your superstar defenseman, missed games, and now they're all healthy. And I watched the exhibition game against the Wild the other night, and watching Nathan McKinnon out there now, first of all, he has the talent around him, but my goodness, he's a Hart candidate for a reason, and he looks great. He looked like a beast in that exhibition game. So I think the Colorado Avalanche are very much to be feared. If they're goalkeepers, and I don't even know who's going to start, whether it's going to be Grubauer or Francouz. I think they're going to go with Grubauer, but I'm not sure. If their goaltenders can keep it together and play well, I think they're going to go far, and I think they're going to be conference finalists.
And I think that's absolutely the X factor as well, too, for the Avalanche. And I think head coach Jared Bednar has mentioned that again, that's kind of the big issue right now to get us to that next level, to get us into that Stanley Cup Finals. Now, Victoria, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot right now as we analyze, and granted, we've only seen exhibition, and a lot of time has passed on. And again, as you mentioned, teams are on this even playing field, so it makes it that much more difficult. But who do you got in that Stanley Cup Final this season? Who's going to be there East-West facing off for a cup?
Well, we all made our picks this week, and everybody can check them out on ESPN.com in the hockey section. And we were put on the spot. We all made our picks for the opening rounds as well, and we put the seeded teams, the top 4 teams, we put them in order and how we thought they would finish. And then, of course, we answered the question who we would see in the Stanley Cup Final. It's way too early to be thinking about that, but we did it anyways for fun. And I'm sorry, I don't have the Avs. I do have the Vegas Golden Knights against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
You actually think the Lightning are not going to get dismissed early on like last year?
I think that's going to be one major reason they don't. Lightning striking twice like that. Vasilevsky was too good this year. They're so stacked out front. They're so well coached. I think what happened last year at the hands of the Blue Jackets, I think that was a real odd anomaly. And again, I watched them. Braden Point looked amazing the other night. I watched them the other night as well, and they seem to be firing on all cylinders. And I think they're going to have that extra hunger going into it because we talked about what happened to them last year for months, and they were constantly reminded of it, and they have not forgotten it at all. And the Boston Bruins are scary. Washington Capitals are scary. Toronto Maple Leafs could be a wild card as well. That's a bit of a homer in me, but I still think it's true. And but I do think that coming out of the muck at the end of it, it'll be the Lightning.
So with all that being said, and again, you're looking at that possibility of Vegas and Tampa Bay in that Stanley Cup Finals where, again, anything and everything can happen. But to get to that point, again, a lot of games and a lot of time have to pass before we are at that point. And as we're seeing in MLB, again, their season, or at least that regular season, is kind of in jeopardy right now with the outbreak. Granted, as we mentioned with the NHL and the NBA, in those bubbles were so far so good. Again, no rogue players, even though there's been some in the NBA. But, again, nothing bad has happened in those respective leagues. But I guess the question for you, Victoria, is here in 2020, with everything barring, how confident are you that we will crown a Stanley Cup champion here in 2020? Or could it be a scenario that, hey, we gotta realize that season also, too, these playoffs could be canceled at any point in time?
I'm going to tell you something because this is on my mind all the time. And because, sports is a distraction. It's entertainment. It's supposed to provide joy. It's not something that's supposed to worry you. We have things we worry about, paying bills and taking care of family members. Sports is the diversion for all of that. So if we're sitting there worried day to day that it might stop or people might get sick or even worse, it takes away the joy, for me, of watching sports in the first place, right? And it's only about a week ago, maybe a week and a half, that I started to exhale and look forward to it a little bit. And I think, and that's mostly in the NBA, the WNBA, and the NHL, that I could sit back and start to look at and get excited to see, to think about the Raptors repeating as champions. Of course, I was going to throw that in that again for you guys. And also to, root on my Toronto Maple Leafs and also address them in the whole series in a professional manner as well. And now I'm worried about MLB big time. We lost the Blue Jays series this weekend because they were supposed to play the Phillies, and now it's postponed indefinitely, and who knows what's going to happen there. I'm right now relatively confident the NBA and the NHL will pull this off. Right now, that can change. Everybody has to behave themselves, but I think if everybody follows the rules, yes, I do think that we're going to see the end of this.
Plain and simple, keep positive and hope for the best. Again, these, at least for the bubbles right now, they're working.
Well, let me ask this final question on my side here, Victoria. With the season going to extend into August, September, with the National Hockey League, and usually camps are, getting underway in October. Is that quick turnaround for the 2021 season going to be tough on some of these teams, or are they right now ready? This is almost like spring training. Let's get into regular season play.
Well, they are going to get a break. I don't think they're going to look at starting the 2021 season until I've heard the date December 1st. So I think they are, and maybe it's November, but I've heard December 1st ballied around. They will get a bit of a break, and I think training camp will be reduced significantly, and the players are certainly not going to complain about that. So with them all coming back, I think it'll be reasonable enough. They'll get a few weeks off to regroup, relax, and goodness, guys, we don't know where we're going to be in the world by then anyway. Will there be a 2021 season? I certainly hope so, but we've got a lot to get through before we get there. And right now, I'm just looking forward to the next 60 days. Enjoy some playoff hockey because, goodness, the fans have been waiting for this.
Absolutely. Well, Victoria, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully Nick will get in touch with you maybe as we get into the Stanley Cup Finals, and we'll get some more insights on how things went throughout the course of the round-robin portion of the season.
Anytime, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Victoria Matiash, ESPN.com NHL writer, join us here on 1480 KRAE. We need to take a time out. We'll be right back. Get ready to wrap things up. Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local, serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 KRAE. At First Tier Bank, we are proud to be a member of this great community and will always support all of our high school athletes. First Tier Bank takes great pride in sponsoring the live broadcast of the games and would like to wish all of our teams good luck. We share the credo with Newt Rockney when he said, "One man practicing sportsmanship is far better than 100 teaching it." It's all about the high school sports at First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, Cheyenne. Do you want the peace of mind of a professionally installed security camera system? Then go with a name you trust, High West Digital Solutions, a High West energy company. The experienced team at High West Digital Solutions will customize a video security system for you, helping you keep an eye on everything going on inside or outside your home or business. Go to hwds.com or call 307-245-4333. High West Digital Solutions, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need.
Since 1966, family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company has been the stop for all lumber, paint, tools, accessories, remodel and do-it-yourself projects, and so much more. Now, Capital Lumber Company announces the beginning of a tasty relationship with Traeger Grills, as they now have in stock several models of Traeger Grills, along with pellets and accessories. Capital Lumber Company at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne. Cheyenne Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 30 years. With their fine expert doctors, along with their highly trained staff, they will provide top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate, expert urinary care. That's 635-4131.
If you're looking for fun and adventure, Kia of Cheyenne is the place to start, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will help you find it. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will give you what you need to make things happen. This vehicle has plenty of power, all-season traction, safety features, technology, and comfort for any road you're on. The Kia Sorento offers plenty of standard features for the money, and we're all about saving you money. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
Announce that Card Valet is here. Card Valet is a simple, secure, and convenient way to control your Platte Valley Bank debit card. You can turn your card on or off with a swipe, set spending limits, and banking alerts for items you want to know about. Card Valet for Platte Valley Bank launches August 3rd. Download the app and start controlling your debit card. Banking with Platte Valley Bank has never been so simple.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply.
Are you looking for a pharmacist who will actually take the time to talk to you? Then come to Medicap Pharmacy. We're dedicated to healthcare only, which means we'll fill your prescription quickly, and then we'll make time to listen, answer your questions, explain your prescriptions, and tell you about possible drug interactions.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be mostly sunny with highs around 83. Then for tonight, it'll be mostly clear with lows around 53. On Saturday, it'll be sunny with highs around 82. And on Saturday night, it'll be partly cloudy with lows around 52.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
And welcome back as we get ready to wrap things up here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, as we're in that abbreviated portion of our programming, just simply for the fact that we're all in wait-and-see mode. We know that baseball is off and running, but it's got some blips. And there's, and again, we'll know for sure Monday whether we're playing or not.
Well, and again, the only guarantee right now is out in this part of the world where again, Post 6 in action today. They're underway right now in Scottsbluff. They will have the state tournament. So, again, that will be state champion crown coming up at least that week. This is the final weekend for the Cheyenne Extreme. We're already state champion. So, again, the guarantees are more on the local side here in Cheyenne and also, too, here in the state of Wyoming. The other also, too, is high school athletics will be a go. Practices, start dates. Monday, though, as again, you're saying Monday's going to be that critical date for MLB. Monday's also too going to be that critical date for high school athletics here in the state of Wyoming, more so for scheduling for what
the planning stages.
Yeah, for what invitationals are going to be removed from the scheduling, how everything's going to go. Hopefully, we'll get more information regarding at least fan attendance at sports, whether it is football, volleyball, and also too, hopefully, we'll get at least a little insider information, or at least a little insight on regarding media, especially us with 1480 KRAE. Again, I have a schedule at least set up, but I'm not going to post it due to the fact that we don't even know if we're even going to be able at least be able to attend these games.
Right. Again, we want to thank our guests who gave us a little bit of insight too. I know they're excited; they're chomping at the bit. Victoria Matiash just joining us recently. She's excited about hockey as well.
Gets underway again officially tomorrow. Qualifying rounds.
Pat Graham in our 3:00 hour, where he actually gets to go to Coors Field.
He's there right now.
So Rockies and the Padres, by the way, and again, the Rockies and Padres are off to good starts here. And boy, you just hate to see the season just wrap up.
I told you. I told you before.
But
happened.
It could. See, here's the sad part about that, though, Nick. As we've discussed, and again, we're going to beat a dead horse here.
Yeah.
The sad part, if Major League Baseball can't make it, well, what's to say that football's going to make it?
And NFL,
and what are you going to do? You're going to put them in the Superdome in New Orleans or in the Georgia
Dome?
And
again, for NFL, it's going to be a million times harder to put teams in a bubble where, again, you have so much personnel a part of NFL squads that, you can't monitor that. You can't pull that off. There's no way. And again, to keep teams in one centralized location or at least two of them, it's going to be nearly impossible. So we'll see. Again, confidence that NHL and NBA are going to be able to pull this off. I have higher confidence in those two leagues that we will have champions crowned there. MLB, I really don't see
I do have confidence, though, I think, with the Pac-12 making their announcement. The ACC picking up the likes of Notre Dame. Colleges want to play college football.
If they don't, they lose millions.
Well,
billions.
That's, the money part is
I'm just saying that also too fuels a little bit of this
I know,
fire
but
as well, too.
the money part is one thing. The student athlete part is the most important thing. And again, we're getting the students back on campus.
Yeah.
So that's
well, and again, Wyoming's already had athletes on campus. So far, no positive tests over there. Colorado State has had at least student athletes of recent time, but again, they have positive tests down there, but not a complete outbreak, so to speak. So at least here in this area, you are seeing some teams get affected by what is happening in the world. But again, as we are now, at least tomorrow is August, and again, we are approaching college football time, especially for the Wyoming Cowboys. You even wonder right now, will they even have a season?
Well,
will the Mountain West figure out a plan of action? And
they're deathly silent. Even Pat Graham, our AP sports writer, didn't know.
Well, and again, next week is the at least NCAA is supposed to come out with more, I guess, rules, regulations, or at least recommendations about fall athletics of what's going to be the approach. So obviously, I would assume Mountain West, Big Sky announced that today, that they're going to wait and see what the NCAA has to say.
Yeah, and then maybe the dominoes will either fall or everything will be, let's give it a shot, and we'll keep our eye on every day.
I think, honestly, right now, the two leagues that can survive, if football doesn't go, whether it's college or NFL, NBA is showing that it can survive in the bubble. NHL can survive in a bubble as well, too.
Yeah, but that's thus far for the NBA.
I'm just saying, for 2020, 2021 regular seasons, could that be a reality? Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, we got to wrap things up here. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back at it again next week as we're going to try to hopefully, wait and see on what's going to happen with the high school scheduling, and then maybe we can start talking a little football here on 1480 KRAE. So, with that being said, for Nick Proati, I'm Larry Proati.
Hold on. I still got.
Do we have on this date in history?
Yeah, we're getting back into it.
All right, Nick, getting me back into the history portion of the
I've been doing it for a while, so I don't know what changed.
Well, one day you didn't have
the wrong sponsor for our scoreboard, so I guess you are losing it. But
well, yeah, I am old and I am ready to retire here, pal.
It's not an excuse.
But I'm not leaving this to you. I guarantee you.
I don't want it. July 31st, we'll go back to the year 97, where this. I'm not gonna say he could have been a Hall of Famer, but he was a big name that switched teams on this date back in 1997.
Big name player switched teams on this date, 1997.
He's still in this league, but as a coach.
I'm just drawing.
How about 97, where Oakland A's first baseman Mark McGwire becomes MLB's top home run hitter to be traded in the middle of a season when he moves from Oakland to the St. Louis Cardinals, where at that time he had 34 home runs and 81 RBI. So again, a top prospect, or at least a top guy, getting shipped off from the Oakland A's.
Because the Oakland A's were fire sailing everybody again, as always. That's how Billy Bean operates. All right, well, we got to wrap things up here in this end. So again, have a great week.